Hello, and welcome to the next episode of the Spirit and Soul Podcast. I am your host, Tiffany Cohen, and I just can't believe we're in 2025 right now. It's amazing. I'm excited. I always get excited for a new year. And at the start of every year, I like to kind of compile all of the different things. So, numerology, readings, and hearing all the things, like all the energies that we can be working with, and maybe some things that we can work with as far as challenges go, and what might be, something to look at. And I really just couldn't kick off this year without having Erica Rose with us.
Yeah, hello. Always glad to be here.
We love having Erica on. And, Erica does so many different, Erica, you do so many different types of readings.
I do.
And I love your numerology, and I feel like everybody kind of like looks forward to this every year, because like last year was such a hit with the numerology and all of like the readings that you do. And I'm like, you know what? We need like a full forecast. We need to know what's coming. So that's what this episode is all about today. So Erica's going to give you all the details of what we need to look out for. So Erica, before we even jump into it, how did you get started with numerology?
I think it was just one of the things about spirituality that fascinated me. When I got started on my path as a teenager, I just wanted to know everything about everything. I'm a Scorpio rising, so that checks out. I dove into angels. I read books on astrology, fairies, numerology, past lives, everything. So I felt like I learned a bit about everything. And numerology became a more prominent tool in my practice because I realized how accurate it is, how scarily accurate it is. My favorite thing of numerology is our personal years. So in each year of our life, we are in a cycle from number 1 through 9. And when I learned that, I kind of analyzed the past 9 years of my life with what the themes were. And then I compared it to what I went through, and it was exact. It was an exact match every year. Then I would talk to my friends about it. I would calculate their numerology years, and they were like, what? What is this sorcery?
What is this sorcery?
And it was so fascinating. And I found it was a helpful tool because if we can look back and realize how accurate it was, then we could go forward in the future and realize, wait, I know what energy's coming. I could be better prepared for it. I know how to handle this energy and how to use it to work in my favor.
Oh, I love it. And I love when Erica like brings up, like, we'll be just having a conversation. She's like, well, wait a second. 3 + 3 is 6. And then 6 + 6 is 12. But break that down. And I'm like, what does it mean? And all of a sudden she's like, it means run.
Run, girl.
Run, girl, run. So, no, but by the way, we just kind of gloss over the fact that for those of you that are just like listening, maybe, I want you to understand that Erica is actually a teacher here at Spirit and Soul Studio. So you can book anything with her that she has available, her past life readings, numerology, all the things, but kind of just gloss over that fact, thinking that everybody just knows us already, because they do on some level.
You guys have seen me on the Instagram before.
Seen her on the Instagram, on the lives, all the things. But I just want to make sure that those maybe tuning in for the first time, that they understand. And yeah, so let's get into it. What does 2025 have in store for us?
Yes. So not only do we have our own personal years in numerology, we have a collective year. So it is a number, again, from 1 through 9, that the whole collective, the whole world is experiencing in this energy. So you calculate that number by adding up the year. So this year will be 2025, which is 2 + 2 + 4. Pretty easy to calculate this year. And that turns into a 9.
All right. Tell us about it.
So Tiffany's personal years also coincide with the collective year. So Tiffany is also going into a personal year 9, which you were on. If you were on one of the live sales we did, we were talking in depth about that. But so we are in a 9-year collectively for 2025. And this is the end of the cycle because, it's 1 through 9. So we are at the very end. So this is a really good time for the world to kind of reflect, to look back, to analyze. 9s are excellent for shadow work. Things are going to come up because in your 1 year, so 2026 will be a collective 1 year, the world is starting a new cycle, a new chapter for the next 9 years, the next decade. So the world needs to kind of collectively analyze, what don't we want to take with us to the next cycle? What do we need to leave behind? What needs to change? So I think next year is kind of going to be an end of life as we know it kind of year, but in a good way for the people, because 9 also has very big humanitarianism energy. And with if you combine it with astrology, we are in this age of Aquarius, which is also humanitarian for the people. So I think next year it's going to be a lot of changes that might seem scary at first, but they're going to be for our highest good, to clear things out and to really kind of help people have a better life.
I love this. It feels like full moon energy. Nonstop.
Yes.
Actually, as you were saying it, I'm like, okay, this feels like a full moon on repeat every day.
Yeah. Like I always say that, some years in numerology are harder than others, but every year has both. Every year you're going to have the duality of life. You're going to have that balance. You're going to have good things happen. You're going to have not so good things happen. And that's okay. It's just about using these tools to kind of help you get through it and to help you understand that you can get through it and how is life working in your favor. So next year with this 9 energy, there might be a lot of shakeups, but it's going to be, how is this working in my favor? How is this working in humanity's favor? I feel like there's going to be a lot of things where maybe within like the workplace or just like the quality of life, where people are really going to stand up and be like, no, we don't want to do this. Like, we want more rest. We want more time off. We want more money, whatever it is. And I think people are really going to stand up this year and be like, no, we need to make society better for everyone.
I love that. And it's kind of like Moldavite energy. Like as you're talking about it, I'm like, okay, this feels kind of like because this is what I do. Like, I think you do colors, right?
Yeah,
like your things in colors, my things in crystals.
Ooh.
So like I will feel into, okay, what is this energy? And that energy feels like Moldavite. And for those of you that are like, no, like at home right now, I wore Moldavite every single day for years.
That's insane.
Years.
In the best way.
Yeah. And the reason being is that like I was ready for whatever transformation came, because with the death of things comes the newness, comes the things, if you allow it. Otherwise, you're looking backwards, right? So you are now, like, this is why we wanted to do this episode, because I think it's important to understand that there is a deep surrender that comes with this year. So know that if you are a control freak, woo, this is not your year. No, this is your year to find out what it's like to not be a control freak, right? Like, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, definitely, because this is all about surrendering, letting go. It might be a slower year because we are forced to look inward, to reflect. So this would be really great to kind of reflect as a whole on what has happened since 2017, because we started this cycle in 2017, which feels like a lifetime ago, but kind of thinking about globally, what have we been through? How have we progressed as a society? Where do we still need to progress as a society? What have we still not got right? Looking at those things that have happened, that can really help kind of give us, okay, what do we need to let go of in this upcoming year?
So that's really interesting. So that would be the year then that I went on my entrepreneurial journey.
Oh, ooh, I got chills.
Yeah. So like if I look back at 2017, because 2016 I had Nico at the end of the year. Yeah. And then in the following year is when I had the altercation with my boss. And that's where like things were just feeling like so hard and challenging. And I finally like had my like awakening, basically. Like I'm like, absolutely not, like I can't live like this anymore. And started to make strides to change. Now I could have like fought against it, because obviously there was a part of me that was like, come on, like, let's do this, let's go. And so there was a part of me that was, pushing me. But if I didn't answer the call, life would probably still feel really hard.
Yeah.
Right.
You need to, when you feel that. And because for you, 2017 was a personal year one, and we were in that collective year one. So that was the new beginning. Because 2016, you were letting things go behind. That was the last 9 years.
Yeah.
And I think that's important for everyone too, to look back to 2016, because that was the last time we were in a collective 9 year. And whatever your personal year is This year for 2025, it was the same for 2016. So look at what themes were popping up for you and what you had to deal with in that year. And you might have similar themes because especially, you know, if we don't correct our patterns, if we don't do that inner shadow work to release it, we are going to keep repeating our patterns. So that's why this year, the 9 year is really great to just finally break that pattern. So next time in the next cycle, next time we get to the 9 year, you don't need to do it again.
It's just so interesting because I'm like thinking back as you're talking right now, and I'm like, all right, what was happening in the 9 year at 2016? And I think I'd gotten my house, I want to say, in that year. And then, yeah, because my aunt always says new house, new baby. And I was like, no, not yet. And then there I was in February of that year. Oh, so no, I got it in I guess the year before that. But then, yeah, so like that year, at the end of the year is when I had Nico. I was like sitting at home and I was feeling like I can't imagine going back. And like I was like that with Gavin, but more like heartbroken.
Aww.
I think like there was some shift that was happening where I needed to let go of the life I knew. And I think I was really starting to do that. So then when I entered the 1 year, the following year, it was like my body was prepared for it. Like energetically, I would guess I was prepared for it, but I had no idea of any of this, you know? So now looking back, this is like so amazing. So really looking at the year and like, listen, if you don't know what your personal year is, this is something that you want to reach out to Erica about because she's doing 15-minute readings. What are we calling them?
2025 insight reading.
Insight. So like, you're going to want to know about this so that you can be prepared.
Yeah. And I think it's so important to know your personal year and tie that into the collective year because they kind of work in tandem with each other. I just did a reading right before this and my client that I was reading, she was in her personal year 8. So 8 is a year about abundance, and that is a very big, expansive year. It's about calling in, manifesting what you want, more money, love, happiness, wealth, not just money, definitely money, but everything else too. And so since she's in her personal year 8, which is this big, expansive year, collectively we're in the year 9, which is the shadow work year. So we can combine those. And I guided her and I was like, you need to look at where are you blocking yourself in abundance? Go inwards this year, do that shadow work around abundance, why you don't think you're worthy of it or where you feel you're lacking in your life. And if you do that, then your abundance is going to be magnified because you are in this 8 energy, but with the 9, so you combine the 2. So it's really important to combine the 2. So like you have a personal year 9 and a collective year 9. So you're just
I want you to understand something. Every time Erica says this to me, she laughs.
Because you are just like, you are always about shadow work. So it's like you have to do shadow work around your shadow work.
My shadows around my shadows. Great. Old Navy. You're going to hate me this year.
No, 9s can be tough. I know for me personally, I was in my personal 9 year in 2020. And I think I just had the perfect storm because it was 2020. Mm-hmm. It was my Saturn's return began. And if you don't know, your Saturn's return happens around when you're like in your late 20s, usually around 29. It's when Saturn gets back into the sign that it was in when you were born. And Saturn is our teacher planet. So it's kind of like your final push into adulthood. So usually it stays in that sign for 3 years. So within those 3 years, you're going to have a lot of challenges that push you. So I had my 9 year of surrender and shadow work, the pandemic, and my Saturn's return. So
and she made it.
Yeah, I made it through. My 9 year was hard. I had friendships end. I was laid off from my job, my corporate job. My grandma passed away. My now husband, boyfriend at the time, his grandpa passed away and he was so close to them. So I had to like help him heal through it as well. So it was just a lot. But I know a lot of it was for my highest good. Getting out of the corporate job, I wanted to leave it anyway. That friend that it didn't work out, I had been friends with her since junior high and we always butt heads. And I knew we weren't supposed to be friends because neither of us enjoyed being near each other, but it was one of those friends where you've been friends for so long and it finally came to like a head and like cut ties, haven't spoken since. And I felt so relieved and I still feel relieved. Like I wish her well, but I'm glad like she's not a part of my life just as I am with my job. So the 9 year is all about, if you don't let things go, the universe is going to intervene to let things go. I didn't let this friendship go on my own, so the universe kind of set up a situation to kind of bring it to an argument to let it go. I didn't quit the job that I knew I wanted to leave, so I got laid off. So a lot of those things, the universe is going to intervene, and I think that's going to happen a lot collectively to the world, is where if we're not taking the action to surrender, the universe is like, all right, is your last shot. I'm going to do it for you.
And then what are you going to do? And that's where, first of all, like if you've been a part of spirit and soul, like you understand that we dive into shadow work in basically almost every single, I want to say every single class, except for like maybe the Reikis, but like, cause like you don't talk.
I always guide them through shadow work. It's so important. You can't manifest until you let go.
Exactly. And like, so understand that like, this is your chance to be able to do that. And it's going to probably be on repeat. And that's not a bad thing. Like, that's why like we're joking about my personal year and this collective year being a 9. But I said, even on the lifestyle, I'm like, this is what I do. Like, I'm prepared for like, that's kind of like every year for me, maybe it's just going to be a little bit more prominent, or like the things that have been feeling like blocks or so. Like, that's kind of like what I'm thinking, like as I'm sitting with it, like the things that are blocked that I couldn't figure it out, like maybe they're just going to make themselves known.
Yeah. And it's like, I think of the 9 as like the storm year. And it's stormy and a mess, but it's going to clear out and bring way for newer and even better. And also, like, who says you can't dance in the rain?
Yeah, I love that. Yeah. No, I know. And like, that's okay. Like, I can actually envision what this is. And it's part of my manifestation.
That's awesome.
Like, when I really think about it, it is actually part of my manifestation. Like, just because it's an ending of a new way of being, right? And and I know that that's been a block for me because I have to let go of, like, I guess like a certain way of living, right? And then step in so that I can step into the new one without fear. Yeah. And I feel like that's kind of the vibe. Yeah. Right? Like,
that is absolutely the vibe of the 9.
Understand what your manifestations can bring for you. So if you've been manifesting something, maybe it's big, maybe it's a whole new way of life. Like for me, it's like huge. It's huge. My manifestations are gigantic.
They always are. Yeah.
They always are. And if with that comes gigantic changes, it has to. But if you're holding on so tight, you're not going to let those manifestations come into existence. So like, I'm looking at this collective 9 year my personal 9 year, both of it, as the chance to let go of what was in order to bring the manifestations forward. And I think that can also happen as well.
Absolutely. That's what the whole vibe is about. And I feel like the universe kind of applauds us for coming to the end of the cycle and understanding that we are creating new beginnings via the old endings. A new beginning can't start without ending. Oh, that's in the closing time, right? Every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end.
Yeah, I love that. So what's coming to mind right now is actually maybe how can we support people kind of as they're doing this, right? Like as they're going through it.
Yeah. Like I said, I think it's so important for everyone to understand their personal year and how that ties into the 9, what they particularly need to do shadow work around based on where else you personally are in your cycle. And I think also really understanding that, 9 might bring about some hard energy, but it isn't all hard. You are still going to have great things. Don't let this be like, oh no, the world's going to be crazy this year. It's a
doom and gloom year.
Exactly. Like, no, it can still be a good year because it's still whatever you make it. Just have hope, put the intentions out that things are going to be great, but know that you are strong enough and wise enough to handle the challenges that come up for you, and understand that these challenges are just helping you get to the next level. And you want to take any challenge that comes up very, very seriously. Trust that the universe is putting this in your path for a reason, even humanity, because the collective year, trust that any hard things that happen in 2025, we're facing them for a reason, so we can make humanity better for everybody.
Yeah, like you have to grab hold of your life here. Okay. Like this, I don't know, this is what's like completely coming through right now. Like, you have to grab hold of your life. Stop living in the past. Stop thinking that you know better than the universe. The universe is going to kick your ass. Like, It will kick your ass if you are not like, if you're just like, no, it has to be like this. It has to be like this. No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
You don't know better. So this is the year where the universe is going to show you that you don't.
Yeah, and I think that's so important because I think that's why there's a lot of disconnect in society because people realize we need to evolve and change and grow. I think that was something we learned at the pandemic, that not all jobs need to be done from an office. We don't all have to sit in 2 hours of traffic to commute every day. You could work from home, have a better quality of life. People are starting to wake up to that. And now I think that there's a lot of people who are still holding on to the idea like, no, life, we've always done it this way. We've always had
Yeah.
that 5-day work week, the 9 to 5, which is really like 8 to 8.
Yeah.
Who are we kidding?
Yeah.
But it's like, no, we have to do it this way. It's always been this way. But we have so many people being like, no, it can be better. Let's improve. Let's make it better. And that's what's going to be the 9 years. I think the people who want to stay stuck in the past are really going to be confronted with a lot of things. And the universe is really going to give us reasons for the people who want life to be better for all involved to really like stand up and make this change. So I'm excited. I think this year might be a bit of challenging. Who knows what could happen, but I think it's all going to be for the highest good and the greatest good. So remind yourselves of that. When crazy things pop up, be like, no, this is for the better of the world to start off our new cycle in 2026 with that 1 year.
Yeah. And I don't know if it's just the fact that I have Wicked on the brain. I was just telling Erica this before we started. I'm like, these songs are living rent free in my head. I wake up singing them. I go to bed singing them, but I have one that's popping in my head, Defying Gravity, right?
Ooh.
Like and she says right in there, like, you know, paraphrasing, but I'm done playing by the rules of someone else's game.
Yes.
Like, and I'm
Ooh.
not going to, you know, be held to these limits just because someone says they're so.
Yes.
And I feel like that's what you're saying.
Very 9 energy.
Yeah.
Elphaba's very 9
Yeah,
energy.
she is. So she's like all she's all the shadow, the soul part of it. She's really like the soul aspect. And I think that, you know, for you at home, if you can do what Erica just said and what Elphaba says and stop, like that's what I did a lot. And that's what I did in my 9 year / and then into my 1 year, is that I stopped playing by the rules. And like,
awesome.
and that's it. And once I stopped playing by the rules, I saw that there were actually no limits
Yes.
to it, that people put limits on you because they think that it's to keep you safe or that it's for control. Most of the time it's for control purposes.
Absolutely.
So stop.
Yeah.
Stop being controlled. Stop being controlled and stop controlling. Stop trying to control others as well. Like, you have to be this way. It has to look this way. That's not fair either. So while we create our own, you know, reality, create the one that you want to see.
Yes. And I feel like 9 is, because it is that surrender energy, I feel like it is connected to the divine feminine energy, which is very like goddess energy. So I feel like this would be a really great year to connect with the goddesses and let them show you how to surrender, how to flow, how to trust your intuition, trust yourself. Like Tiffany was just saying, don't play by someone else's rules, create your own. And you do that by listening to your intuition, have spirit guide you, have your higher self guide you, listen inwards and be like, okay, what do I need to let go of? What do I need to flow with, surrender with, so that way I can make my life everything I want it to be and more.
So fun. I'm like really looking forward to this year. Actually, I really am. I know that sounds crazy.
I am too, because you know what? I am in a personal year 5, which is like the party year. So it's a year of fun. It's a year of travel. It's a year of freedom, experiences. Because I was just in my 4 year, and 4 years are nonstop hard work. They're the year to help you build foundations, and they're just, again, nonstop. This year has been the busiest year of my life. I have never stopped. Gabby, who also works at Spirit and Soul here, she was also in her 4 year. She had a super busy year. She bought a house, which is building foundations. I got married building foundations. So me and Gabby are both excited to be in our 5 year because it's the turning point. It's midway through the cycle. It's change. It's fun. My last 2016 was my last personal 5 year. That's when I met Justin, my husband now. I got what was my former dream job at the time. I went to Paris for the first time, which is my dream. I did a bunch of cool things. So I'm excited about that. And I'm going to tie in the collective 9 by kind of doing shadow work around, what does freedom look like for me? What does change look like for me? How can I be comfortable with change knowing it is for my highest good? or how can I trust myself that the more freedom I create, the more abundant I could be, the more fun I am. So that's what I was talking about, knowing your personal year and tying it into that collective nine, seeing what do you need to do some work around.
That's really interesting too, because that freedom energy can actually feel, while that's all like that's basically at the end of the day, that's what most of us want is
Yes.
freedom. Um, it can feel very chaotic when you have too much of it because it feels freedom can feel ungrounded.
Yeah, especially when you're just in a year 4, which is all about structure and routine and having so much to do. Like, I'm probably going to have a little more free time next year. And I'm like, what do? I just had a whole year where I had no free time.
I'm sure I can think of things for you, Erica.
I know I shouldn't say that. I'm not free.
Yeah. So like, that's why I think that these readings that Erica does is so important. They're 15 minutes and they are something that can really shape and shape your perspective around the year. So as things are coming up, you're like, oh, wait a second. Erica told me that, I'm in this, whatever, my personal year 6, and this is going to happen and that's going to happen. And, I should really maybe do some shadow around it because those things are happening, but they feel uncomfortable in my body, or they feel uncomfortable, or it feels a little chaotic, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
So make sure that you are signing up for that. You can head on over to spiritandsoulstudio.com/Erica with a C. Okay.
And you could do these in person here at Spirit and Soul or book them virtually. I have virtual options as well. So if you live anywhere, we could still connect and I could give you these insights. And it's not only just numerology, I also channel to see what archangel is with you and what message they have for you. I also pull some cards for you so you could see what empowering message you have ahead. And we also pulled some runes for you too to see the common theme. What I have found in the readings last year, and I've already done a couple so far this year, is that they all connect. The same message comes through. Like the runes that people are pulling are exactly the same vibe as their personal year. The cards are similar energy. Whatever angel wants to talk to them, similar energy. So it's just like no coincidence. It's awesome.
Wow. I love it. Yeah. So make sure that you guys are booking these because I think Erica was talk about she kicked off her 4-year with busyness because that was last year was crazy with them. And this year is already starting. We're not even in 2025 yet when we're recording this. And it's just going to be, I think they're going to be insane. So make sure that you are signing up for that. And, good luck to you in the 9 year.
Yes, we got this. We can do this.
We got this. No, for real.
Just remember, everything that's happening is for our highest good to get us to a better place collectively as a society where we can be more harmonious.
Yeah. And Spirit and Soul is here for you as you're going through all of these things. A great book for you might actually be The Universe Has Your Back by Gabby Bernstein. Just so that you can understand that as things are changing, happening around you, that it's all always working in your favor. You just have to see it that way. The perspective needs to be on that part of it, because otherwise you're just going to be living in the past, like wishing for why did it have to change or whatever it is. You don't want to be doing that. You have to really be living in the present moment and seeing that the universe is working for you. So that would be a great book. We carry it at Spirit and Soul, but we are here to support you through it all, as we are all of your manifestations, all of the shadows, all of the different things. We're here for you for everything. So I want you to head on over to Instagram, if you're on Instagram, and head on over to Spirit and Soul Studio and DM us what was your biggest takeaway out of this. And we would love to hear from you. Erica would love to hear from you.
Yes, I would.
Yeah. And yeah, that's it. So thank you guys so much. Thank you, Erica, for all the insights.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. Love having you. All right, guys, we will see you on the next episode of the Spirit and Soul podcast. Happy New Year.